Okay, well, let's go to Aberdeenshire, where Alec Salmond is waiting to speak to us. Mr. Salmond, good evening, or good morning, rather. It's 25 to 2.
Good morning, Bernard.
Good morning to you. What a difference a matter of months, a couple of months makes. I mean, could you ever believe that you would see such an electoral tsunami as the kind that looks as if the SNP are about to deliver tonight?
Well, it was 7 months, Bernard. I mean, time flies when you're enjoying yourself. I thought after the referendum that the political scene in Scotland was redolent with opportunity. But I have to say that the sort of movement that you describe as a tsunami that we're likely to see tonight was beyond even my expectations.
How do you analyse it? What do you put it down to? Is this just a reaction against the Westminster system? Is it a clarion call for further constitutional change? Or is it an acknowledgement by the voters that they see the SNP as the most effective vehicle to stand up for anti-austerity politics in the Westminster system?
Well, it's all of these things, Bernard, and you've just neatly summarised the things that are motivating the campaign. But above all, it's a very positive vote. It's a vote from an electorate who've been energised, informed, electrified by the referendum process. We now have one of the most politically aware and articulate electorates in, if any, Western democracy, and that's a great thing for Scotland. We're not the same country as we were a year ago, Bernard. We're a better country as far as politics are concerned. I managed to catch some audio, incidentally, of your panel, who still seem to be fighting the election campaign. I have to say to them, it's a wee bit late for that, guys. I mean, we're now at the time we have the results, and the results seem to be that the arguments of the unionist parties have been well and truly rejected, and the Scottish National Party are about to make unprecedented, extraordinary advances across Scotland.
I was making the point earlier on that not even in the high days of the Labour Party could they command such support. The SNP are a party of the north, the south, the west, the east, the urban, the rural, of all classes. How do you think Westminster, particularly if the Conservatives are the government after this general election, what do they have to do to take cognizance of what's happened in Scotland at this election?
Well, it was in this hall in the Exhibition Centre in Aberdeen in 2011 that I described the SNP as the truly national party for exactly the reasons that you've given, when we got 45% of the vote, which seemed an extraordinary result at the time. It does seem, it could be, that the result tonight will be even greater than that. So the National Party of Scotland is a good description of the SNP at the present moment. I mean, I hope, and let's see what the results are from Scotland and from the rest of the country, but I think it's all to the good that Scotland looks set to deliver a message to Westminster which is so resounding, so unambiguous, so clear, a clarion call that cannot be ignored regardless of the political configuration at Westminster. And anybody who wants to ignore an electoral tsunami would usually get swept away in the tide.
But in terms of that clarion call and what it means for the Constitution, I mean, a Conservative member of the European Parliament has told us on this programme within the last half hour it is incumbent on the government of the UK to sit down with the SNP and to have a discussion about what this means for constitutional politics. Frankly, are the Smith Commission proposals now dead as a result of this result?
Well, Bernard, let's see what the result is first. I mean, Nicola Sturgeon's laid out the SNP strategy. We'll be seeking to be part of a progressive alliance which could command a majority in the House of Commons. Now, if that doesn't appear to be possible, if that doesn't transpire, then we can meet that bridge when we come to it. But let's see if the results north and south of the border allow that progressive alliance to be put together. But listen, with the sort of movement we have in Scotland, then I think the SNP are going to be very difficult, impossible to ignore, and very difficult to stop. As I remember it, Bernard, way back, the SNP managed to create quite a bit of noise in the House of Commons when we were 3 MPs facing a Tory majority of over 100. I think the group of SNP MPs that are going to Westminster this time is likely to be substantially bigger than that.
Of course, an election many years ago when the Conservatives triumphed, the whole idea of a democratic deficit was very much debated. If the Conservatives are to win across the UK, but have no members of Parliament at all in Scotland, and the SNP are the dominant party, does it, in your view, raise any issue about constitutional legitimacy in terms of the policies which the Westminster government then pursues?
Oh, well, of course it does, and Nicola Sturgeon laid that out very well, and I thought a very significant speech this week when she pointed out legitimacy for our Westminster government should command support from all parts of these islands. And it would seem that no Westminster party, whatever else happens, is going to be able to claim a mandate in Scotland. And therefore legitimacy is more than just a matter of the number of votes. It's even more than a matter of the number of seats, which is the crucial thing in the House of Commons, of course. Legitimacy is about having a reach across these islands, and no unionist party seems likely to be able to claim that in Scotland by about 12 hours' time, Bernard.
Well, of course, we're still waiting for your declaration, but Sir Malcolm Bruce, some time ago on this programme, effectively, I think, threw in the towel. So would you like to speculate about what kind of percentage share and what kind of majority you might have?
Well, listen, I mean, it's very graceful of Malcolm Bruce to concede the election before the count's taken place. Usually you lose that sort of thing to your own candidates, I would have thought. I mean, I think the problem for the Liberal Democrats is that in the North East of Scotland they're very much a shell organisation, and I don't by that mean the oil company. I mean the precious few, almost no activists on the ground in the North East of Scotland. That's not much of a legacy to leave after 33 years as a Member of Parliament. But I wish Malcolm well in his retirement, and of course if that was a concession he made earlier to you, Bernard, then we'll just have to accept that as a concession. But maybe he'll predict the size of the majority as well if he seems to be on a run.
Alec Salmond.
We'll take what the people say in the North East of Scotland, Bernard, and I think we're going to be very pleased with the results.
Thank you very much indeed, Alec Salmond, for joining us from the Aberdeenshire Count and from